Kristin and Ryan, congratulations on your engagement." That banner greeted me as I arrived at the cottage. At that instant, my heart skipped a beat. I blinked, hoping I'd misread it, but there it was, clear as day. A golden balloon arch proudly proclaimed, "Kristin Ryan forever." The entire place was decorated in soft whites and pinks. Cradling my round belly with both hands, I took a deep breath. This cottage was my space, something I inherited from my late grandfather. Now 8 months pregnant and dealing with a fragile body, I had returned to my parents' house a week ago. My doctor had advised complete rest after a sudden bout of illness. During that time, I had no choice but to ask my mother, Barbara, to handle the baby shower preparations. She'd smiled sweetly and said, "Leave it to me. You just focus on resting for the baby." I believed her. I didn't think I had any reason to worry. Today was supposed to be my baby shower, with close friends gathering to celebrate new life. But the scene before me was nothing like that. It became the engagement party for my sister and her fiancé. The front door stood wide open. Strangers in catering uniforms bustled in and out. The air was filled with the aroma of food, trays being carried every which way. Then I glanced toward the entrance area and my breath caught in my throat. There, neatly displayed, were the organic gift sets I had personally picked and ordered. But on top of them lay a carelessly placed card, "Party favors for guests." As if they had always been meant for this event. Something cold spread through my chest. An emotion somewhere between grief and fury surged inside me, and I heard my own voice before I could stop it. "What is going on here?" My voice was colder than even I expected. One of the nearby staff members turned abruptly at the sound, but no one responded. Then I heard Kristin's shrill voice from the living room. "More lighting. Ryan's parents want good shots for Instagram." The frivolity in her tone left me speechless. Without a word, I took a slow step forward. Inside, my heart felt frozen still and brittle like ice. I walked silently toward the back, and what met my eyes was a lavishly decorated living room. White and gold balloons, elegant catering, and an abundance of fresh flowers. At the center stood Kristin, dressed to perfection, her eyes shimmering with makeup, draped dramatically on Ryan's arm as she smiled into a smartphone camera. With each shutter click, she struck a new pose. Ryan stood beside her, playing the charming fiancé. I stood frozen, time seemingly suspended. Near them, Ryan's parents and a few relatives chatted happily. My mother was among them, adjusting Kristin's dress like she was royalty. In another corner of the room, I saw my father dressed in a suit, arms crossed, chatting and laughing in unusually high spirits. He was always reserved, but today he was beaming with pride, clearly thrilled about his daughter's engagement. As soon as I appeared, the air seemed to freeze. "Stacy, what are you doing here? Wasn't today supposed to be my baby shower? Why has it turned into Kristin's engagement party?" Barbara cleared her throat and forced a smile. "Sweetheart, we were worried about your condition. We thought it was best not to burden you with a party. And since the opportunity was there, we just decided to celebrate Kristin and Ryan instead. And was I ever consulted about this?" She looked away. Then Kristin barged in. "What's with the scary face? You're pregnant, you should just relax. Ryan's parents are here, try not to ruin the vibe, okay?" I was at a loss for words. "Kristin, this is my cottage. I inherited it from Grandpa. You don't have the right to use it without asking." "Seriously? You're bringing that up now?" "The party's already started. Don't make a scene, it's bad for the baby." Those words pushed my anger to its boiling point. "Was that a threat?" She shrugged. "Just saying, if you throw a fit now, don't expect things to go smoothly. Keep it civil for everyone's sake." Barbara chimed in with a hushed voice. "Stacy, you do care about your image, don't you?" You wouldn't want your followers on social media to see you causing a scene while pregnant, would you? I gave a dry laugh in my head. They had no idea how much influence I actually wielded. I took a step back and pulled out my phone. Quietly, I took several photos of the living room, the banner with Kristin and Ryan's names, and the gift sets that had been repurposed without my consent. Kristin and Barbara went right back to chatting, thinking they'd won. Kristin leaned toward Ryan's mother, smiling warmly. "Isn't this wreath just lovely?" I picked it myself. I couldn't stop myself from speaking up. That wreath? I was the one who ordered it. The air seemed to freeze for a moment. Ryan's mother turned to me, eyes wide in surprise. "And you are?" "Stacy Hansen. Kristin's sister. I own this cottage. And today is supposed to be my baby shower." Ryan's father stepped toward us, looking concerned. "Barbara, what is she talking about?" My mother smiled serenely. "Just a little misunderstanding. Stacy wasn't feeling well lately, so we made a last-minute change. That's all." "Isn't that right, Stacy?" I returned her smile just as serenely. "I'll be explaining everything properly in due time. But for now, the issue is that a party is being held in my cottage without permission." Without saying another word, I looked away. Whatever my mother and Kristin had to say next no longer felt worth hearing. Placing a hand gently on my belly, I turned on my heel. "Stacy, where are you going?" Barbara called after me. But I didn't stop walking. Strangely, I felt no rage, no grief. Those emotions had passed. Right now I'm simply calm, quiet, and focused on what I need to do. Each step toward the exit felt solid and certain. As I stepped outside, the salty sea breeze brushed against my cheek. I walked slowly to the car, opened the door, placed my bag in the passenger seat, and sank into the driver's seat. The door closed with a quiet click, and for a moment, the tension in my body released just slightly. I let out a long breath and leaned back. Then, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. The plan ahead was already clear in my mind. No hesitation. This time, it was my turn. I took another deep breath. My fingers wrapped firmly around the steering wheel. "Phew, we're okay. We're going to be okay," I whispered, placing a hand on my belly. Then I picked up my phone and made a direct call to the local police. After a few rings, a calm male voice answered. "Sandpoint Police Department. How can I help you?" "My name is Stacy Hansen. A party is currently being held at a property I own without my consent." I was also verbally threatened. "I'd like to report this as trespassing and request an official response." The officer's tone shifted immediately to one of seriousness. "And you're the legal owner?" "Yes, I have the deed. Are you currently on the premises?" "No. I've left the cottage for safety reasons. I'm 8 months pregnant." "Understood. Please prioritize your safety. We'll dispatch a patrol unit immediately." "May I have your name and contact information again for verification?" I provided all the necessary details. Once officers arrive on site, they'll conduct an initial assessment. Until then, please remain in your vehicle or return home and stay safe. Thank you. I appreciate it. After ending the call, I rested my forehead against the steering wheel and let out a quiet sigh. The police were taking action. They wouldn't be allowed to get away with this anymore. I whispered to the child inside me. "Mommy will protect you, no matter what." While waiting for the police, I opened my phone and began organizing the photos and audio recordings I had taken. Then I called my best friend, Julia. "Julia, can you talk right now?" "I just got to the cottage, and things got out of hand." I quickly explained what had happened. How the baby shower I'd planned had been hijacked by my sister and mother and turned into an engagement party. How I had even been threatened when I confronted them. Julia had originally planned to be at the baby shower today, but an emergency night shift at the hospital had left her too sick to attend. I could hear her inhale sharply over the phone. That's insane. I can't believe they'd go that far. Are you okay? Were you scared? Honestly, I was shocked. But now I feel more clear-headed than anything. Stacy, you are incredibly strong. Where are you now? In my car. I left quietly. I've already called the police. I'm planning to send the evidence to Madison, too. Madison was a mutual friend of ours from high school, now a brilliant attorney. She knew everything about my family's dynamics, so I had no hesitation in reaching out to her. Got it. Send me the recordings and photos. I'll handle getting in touch with Madison. You just rest for now, okay? Thank you, Julia. After ending the call, I sent the data to Julia. Then I mentally walked through the next steps. It wasn't long before I heard the sound of sirens in the distance. A patrol car had arrived and an officer began asking for details. I calmly presented the ownership documents and explained the situation. Today was meant to be my baby shower. Instead, my mother and sister changed it without my permission into an engagement party and subjected me to emotional pressure. I'm 8 months pregnant, and my doctor has instructed me to rest. I don't consent to being forced into a social gathering. The officer assessed the situation and called over my mother, sister, and Kristen's fiancé, Ryan. You are hosting an event without the property owner's consent. I'm going to ask you to disperse immediately. Kristen's face turned bright red. Stacy, how could you? What am I supposed to tell Ryan's parents? I replied quietly. Stop trampling over my life just to preserve your image. The atmosphere tensed the moment the police arrived. Guests, including Ryan's parents and other relatives, began murmuring and shifting uncomfortably. When the officer formally stated that the property owner has requested everyone to leave, that became the cue. One by one, guests began gathering their things. The smiles were gone. Everyone avoided eye contact. Within less than 30 minutes of the police's arrival, everyone who wasn't family had cleared out. What remained were the torn decorations and my parents and sister, staring at me with seething expressions. They glared at me, completely speechless. Then the officer stepped forward. This appears to be a family matter. I ask that no further disturbances occur. Please resolve this privately going forward. His voice was calm, but firm, drawing a clear boundary. My parents and sister gave no argument. They only nodded, subdued. The officers turned to me and said, "Please contact us again if anything else happens." Then they quietly left. The soft click of the front door echoed through the now silent room. And then it came. "What the hell is wrong with you, Stacy?" Kristen marched toward me, face flushed with fury. "Did you really have to blow this out of proportion? Who do you think you are?" I didn't flinch. I looked her straight in the eye. Me? I'm someone protecting her own home and her own life. Her face darkened even more. Your house? So what? That doesn't justify calling the police. We're family. We could have talked this out. If any of you had intended to talk to me, you wouldn't have held a party behind my back. Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Ryan turned to Kristen, his expression sharp. "Kristen, is that true? You held this party without her permission?" "I didn't know anything about that." Kristen faltered, but then snapped back defensively. "Oh, shut up. You don't know anything? Stacy always plays the poor victim. I bet she can't wait to cry about this to her followers online." "That's your whole strategy, isn't it?" I replied in a cool and steady voice. "Even if it were, it would still be better than what you just pulled." The room froze. Then my mother spoke, voice trembling. "Stacy, why would you humiliate your family like this? You've made everything so awkward for everyone. We did all of this out of kindness. How could you? I narrowed my eyes. Kindness? If this is your idea of kindness, then I guess my child was just collateral damage for your vanity. There was nothing left for them to say. I have nothing more to say. I'll protect myself and my baby. That's all that matters. Without another glance back, I walked calmly toward the door. I could feel their glares burning into my back, but I never turned around. That night, I stayed at a nearby hotel. Before going to bed, I opened my social media and posted a short message alongside a few photos from the event. Today was supposed to be my baby shower. Instead, I arrived at my own cottage to find it had been turned into my sister's engagement party without my knowledge or consent. I'm 8 months pregnant, and yet they tried to pressure me into going along with it. What would you do? The post spread rapidly, and comments full of anger and sympathy began pouring in. As an influencer with over 800,000 followers, my words carried weight and they traveled far, fast. News outlets, social commentary pages, and viral roundup accounts picked it up. Soon, the story was being shared by people I didn't even know. The next day, I returned to the cottage. The living room was a mess. Balloons scattered across the floor, crushed flower petals, half-finished drinks. I took a deep breath and began cleaning in silence. Then my phone buzzed. Madison's name appeared on the screen. Madison? I paused and answered. Sorry it took me a bit to call back. I reviewed the materials you sent. This definitely qualifies as trespassing and emotional harassment. You could take legal action. Do you want to? I sank onto the sofa, thinking for a moment. Thank you, Madison. I appreciate it. But I'm not sure I want to file it just yet. That's fair. I think taking time to process things is the wise choice. Focus on your health for now. Yeah, thanks. Honestly, I'm still sorting through everything that happened. But I've decided I won't let this slide. Good, that's the mindset you need. No rush. And remember, you can reach out to me anytime. Don't hold back just because it's family. What they did was absolutely wrong. I exhaled softly. I'm really grateful you're here for me. Thank you truly. After ending the call, I took a deep breath and gently set my phone on the table. The only things left in the stillness of the cottage were exhaustion and a cold, simmering anger. I picked up my phone again and opened my social media feed. The post had already been widely reshared. The comment section was overflowing with outrage and support. This is beyond cruel, unforgivable, especially to do this to a pregnant woman. You have my full support. Even people who knew my parents or lived nearby had begun to voice their condemnation. For people like my mother and sister, who valued appearances above all else, this was an unbearable blow. Just then, my phone rang. It was my mother calling. I hesitated but answered. What is it? Stacy, what are you doing? Stop posting on social media. You're humiliating yourself out there. Humiliating? You're the ones who hijacked my event and tried to intimidate a pregnant woman. Do you not realize how bad this looks for the family? Sharing this with your followers, what were you thinking? This is how I deal with things now. You tried to walk all over my life, so deal with the consequences. She kept yelling, but I ended the call. Moments later, Kristen called. I declined without hesitation. Then the messages came. One after another. Why would you do this? I'll apologize, just take the post down. Do you have any idea what this is doing to me? I read each one quietly. I won't let you control me anymore. I whispered to myself and didn't reply. Instead, I began drafting my next post. Thank you to everyone who reached out. I'm okay. My priority is the baby, and I won't tolerate any more mistreatment from my family. Your kind messages mean the world to me. After posting, I set my phone down and took a deep breath. A calm, steady resolve settled within me. It was time to draw a firm line with legal backing. The next morning, I called Madison. "Stacy, did you manage to get some rest?" "Honestly, I'm still tired. But mentally, I'm sharper than ever. I want you to proceed with formal notices. No more gray areas." "Got it. I'll start immediately. First, we'll send a cease and desist regarding the unauthorized use of the property and ban them from entering. We'll also restrict them from any direct contact." "Thank you, Madison. I really appreciate this." After hanging up, I resumed tidying the cottage. The morning sea breeze outside felt surreal, almost too calm compared to the chaos of the day before. By early afternoon, Madison sent over a draft of the notice. I reviewed and approved it right away. The formal documents were sent via express delivery to my parents and sister. I also contacted the cottage's management company and formally registered a restriction. My family was no longer allowed on the premises at all. This place is for me and for my child. I won't let anyone violate it again. That evening, Madison called again. "The notices have been successfully sent. They should arrive tomorrow. Also, your post, it's gaining major traction. Several media outlets have picked it up." "I know, but I don't regret it. It needed to be said. It was the right move. If they try to reach out to you directly, let me know immediately." "I will." And as expected, the next day, my phone rang. It was a call from my mother. I hesitated for a moment, but didn't answer. I forwarded it to Madison instead. Later in the afternoon, dozens of messages from Christine flooded in. "What do you think you're doing? We're family." Now Ryan's family has heard all about this. "This is your fault. If you have something to say it to me. Don't hide behind a lawyer." I replied only once. "All future communication will go through my attorney." After that, I stopped responding altogether. Even my father sent a short message, "You've taken this too far." I forwarded that one to Madison too. She said to me, "Stacy, they're only now realizing the full weight of what they've done. What matters is that you hold your ground." I know. I'm not the same person I used to be. The impact of the formal notice was immediate. My mother emailed Madison directly, asking if she could speak to me to apologize. Madison replied, firmly but respectfully, "Now is not the time. Please refrain from making contact." As for Kristen, I heard indirectly through Ryan that the wedding had been postponed, and the engagement came to be under review. Apparently, Ryan's family was deeply displeased with everything that had happened. Ironically, the very act she took to show off ended up damaging her own reputation. I simply watched the consequences unfold in silence. Eventually, once I had finished tidying up the cottage, Julia came to visit. "Stacy, you've done incredibly well." "Thank you. I've stayed this calm because I knew you had my back." Honestly, it was satisfying to see. What they did was outrageous. They got exactly what they deserved. But more than anything, I'm just glad you're safe. You and that little baby of yours? I smiled softly. "Yeah, I just wanted to protect both of us. Never again would I allow anyone to trample over my life." The two of us sat in peaceful silence, sipping tea while looking out over the calm sea. 2 months later, I gave birth. It came a little earlier than expected, but both the baby and I were healthy. A strong, beautiful baby girl. The moment I heard her tiny cry for the first time, I couldn't stop the tears. "No matter what happens, Mommy will always protect you," I whispered, holding her fragile body close. After giving birth, life gradually began to settle down, and I started a new chapter with my daughter. Messages of congratulations poured in from my followers. I began sharing glimpses of our daily life on social media, alongside the news of her birth. I hadn't heard from my family since the incident. And honestly, I liked it that way. 6 months later, I returned to the cottage for a visit, my daughter sleeping peacefully in my arms. She clutched my finger tightly, breathing soft and even. I sat there soaking in the moment until the sudden buzz of the intercom broke the silence. Startled, I gently laid her in the crib and walked over to the monitor. What I saw on the screen took my breath away. Standing at the front door were my parents and Kristen. Something stirred in my chest, a faint ripple. We hadn't seen each other in 6 months. But I was no longer the woman who once shrank under their gaze. I inhaled deeply, then slowly exhaled, steeling myself. I'm okay. I'm not afraid anymore. Murmuring that quietly, I walked to the door, paused for just a second, took one last deep breath, and placed my hand on the knob. Then, I opened the door slowly. "Stacy, it's been a while," my mother said, her voice tight with nerves. My father gave a small nod without a word. But what truly surprised me was Kristen. Her belly was clearly rounded. She was pregnant. "May we come in?" I paused for a beat, then nodded. "Go ahead." Once seated in the living room, there was an awkward quiet. My daughter slept peacefully in my arms. Then my mother finally spoke. "I've been thinking about everything that happened. Stacy, I'm so sorry for what we did to you." My father nodded solemnly. "We hurt you. We did something we can never undo." "I'm truly sorry." I listened in silence. Then Kristen spoke, voice low. "Actually, I'm pregnant. After the party, I wasn't feeling well. I went to the doctor and found out. Brian and I postponed the wedding. We're figuring things out." I looked at her quietly, surprised but calm. "I see." She kept her eyes down. "I think I finally understand how you felt. Back then, I was so selfish. I'm sorry." "Really?" I took a long, slow breath. "I accept your apology. But that doesn't mean we can go back to how things were. You understand that, right?" My mother nodded, face serious. "We understand. But we hope little by little we can rebuild something. We've seen how strong you've become. We'll never take you lightly again." I looked down at my daughter's sleeping face. Right now, I have something precious to protect. And just because we're family doesn't mean I'll accept anything unjust. That boundary will remain. My father spoke gently. "That's fair." I gave a small smile. "Then let's try." Slowly. "I want my daughter to see what a respectful relationship looks like." They nodded. It wasn't a full reconciliation, but there was sincerity. Now, I no longer needed to seek validation from my family. I had found it elsewhere in a community of followers who encouraged and supported me. Most of all, my daughter, this irreplaceable little soul, brought light into my life. I was finally stepping into a new life of my own, one not defined by family expectations, but by who I truly was. And with each step, I felt more certain of the path I was on. After they left, I gently squeezed my daughter's tiny hand. Feeling her warmth, I made a quiet vow. From now on, I'll protect you, always. No matter what. And with that, I looked ahead because my next step had already begun.